Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Cedar Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up, and we'll get into all sorts of controversies. So stay with us through the entire program. Will you do that, please? But where we want to start is talking about telephone scams with somebody that knows all about them and can give us some good advice. A return visitor to the show, our good friend Mark Hensley, who's Associate State Director of AARP Triad Region. Welcome back, Mark.
Hey, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Do we know about how many, not to put you on the spot, but do we know about how many scam calls are reported in this state each year?
Well, just here in North Carolina, the Attorney General, Josh Stein, received over 10,000 complaints of what we call robocalls.
Yeah, that obviously they're designed to scam somebody. What are the most common scams that target older adults?
Right, so older adults specifically, one that's most common is called the grandparent scam. So think about it, it's late in the night, it's about midnight, you get a phone call and it sounds like your grandchild. And they say, Grandpa, Grandma, I'm in jail. Don't call Mom and Dad, I need bail money. But listen, somebody's trying to help me, so don't send money, send gift cards or send some other kind of payment.
Right, credit cards, that's weird, that's bad. But there are also some of these you're talking about that will threaten, kind of, aren't they? Like if you don't do this or that, something will happen to you?
Right. So one of the most common, it doesn't matter your age, this affects really everybody, and it's government imposter scams. So think about it, you get a phone call and they say they're with the IRS. You've disregarded letters and phone calls and now there's pending action against you.
Oh.
Those kind of threats are absolutely a red flag for a robocall that is a scammer.
And it scares you to death.
It absolutely does.
Now, did the scams like this increase during the pandemic at all, or did that have anything to do with it?
They did increase, but one particular that increased were romance scams. So you're on social media.
I think that's why I got married. It was a romance scam.
And after you have a relationship with someone by phone or by email, at some point they're going to hit you up for money or some other type of send me gift cards. That's absolutely a scam.
Well, in general, what kind of red flags should we look for when paying attention to what could be a scam call?
So
some of them, they start out with a robo. Some of them are real people. Some of them go back and forth. What should we look for?
Well, the first thing is the government is not going to call you. The IRS will not call you. Social Security will not call you. Number two, red flag, do not give out your credit card information, your Social Security number, and especially not your Medicare number to anyone that you do not trust. And then the third is some type of unsolicited text message or email wanting you to go to a retail site and actually give your credit card information. If it's unsolicited, you didn't ask for it, and if you get a robocall, hang up. Don't argue with them, just hang up the phone.
If I suspect something's going on, what's the first thing I should do?
Well, the first thing is hang up. The second thing is you can always go to aarp.org and go to the Fraud Watch Network. We have the largest fraud watch network in the country, and sign up for alerts and information from AARP. And then the third thing you can do is actually call the Attorney General's office. And that is, that phone number is real simple. It's 877-5-NO-SCAM. And that's also translated as 877-566-7226. The Attorney General's office in North Carolina has done more than any other state to protect people against these type of scams.
Yeah, I just appreciate what you guys are doing in this regard. Now, I assume that if somebody gets in touch with AARP, you can also help with education and advice on stuff too?
Yeah, so I hope you flash up my email. Shoot me an email. AARP has volunteers that will come into the community and do workshops for groups, civic groups, faith-based groups, all for everybody, regardless of membership, to teach you how to protect yourself against these type of scam and many others.
Good advice. And up on screen, we're going to give you a couple things. The website, aarp.org/NC, is good to look at. And also, as Mark mentioned, M. Hensley at aarp.org, and a phone number there. I really appreciate what you're doing to protect us and keep us posted on what's going on. And we'll see you soon, all right?
Thank you, Jim.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. So glad to get some of these good folks from Crosstalk back on the show. It's been a while since we've visited with them, and they do such great work and always have. On my right, my good friend, Holly Kessler is Senior Director of Community Relations at Crosstalk Communities for Children, and she brought along a special guest. Kelly Riley is Director of Fostering, Home Licensing, and Training for Cross North Communities for Children. Good to see you, ladies.
Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Holly, let me start with you, just for folks maybe who have just moved into the area or don't know. Very quickly, what's the mission of Cross North?
So first, I'll just mention that Cross North School and Children's Home used to be our name the last time we were on the show, and we rebranded last summer to Cross North Communities for Children. Our mission is to grow healthy futures for children and families by providing a Christian sanctuary of hope and healing. And so what that really means is that we work with children and family in need, mostly those that are involved with the Department of Social Services through foster care. We also have some family preservation services for families to try to keep their children at home, and then our outpatient therapy services as well.
Well, since you brought up foster care, let me turn to Kelly. Remind us what foster care is.
Foster care is primarily about keeping kids safe. So there is some reason that they cannot stay in their family of origin or their home of origin and be safe. So it's a temporary service where the kids can live in a screened and approved home while their family of origin works on the things they need to work on so that they can get back together and live safely.
Is there a specific need in foster care these days?
Absolutely. I would say foster families that can take sibling groups, that can take more than one child at a time, and also therapeutic foster parents. Now, therapeutic foster care is a special kind of foster care for kids that have a little bit higher level of need. They have a mental health diagnosis or a behavioral health diagnosis. And so for our therapeutic parents, they get more training, but they also get more support from the agency to meet those needs. But since January, we've received over 100 requests for therapeutic foster home placements, and
Wow.
about 98% of them we can't even consider just because we don't have the availability. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, Holly, you told me one time we were talking that individuals and groups can help when it comes to foster care. What did you mean that they can help?
Yes, so we have an initiative that we call Fostering Communities, and we're looking for individuals, civic groups, particularly churches, our church groups, that want to come around foster families and support them. Fostering is a hard job, and a lot of families that foster even have their own children, so they're adding even more kids to their home. And so to build a fostering community around those families and the children they serve is real important, and it could be anything, as a church comes around a family, maybe it's bringing meals periodically, maybe it's cutting the grass. We do know one instance is that we had a family down in our Hendersonville region who was accepting a sibling group of small children, and a church in their area came to them and said, "We know that you live on kind of a busy street. We're going to build a fence around your backyard
How
so
about
these
that?
kids can play
Isn't that
safely."
something?
So it's that kind of thing.
Kelly, before time gets away from us, is it a complicated process if I want to become a foster parent, and what kind of qualifications do I have to have?
Sure. It's fair to say that it is involved. There is, between the training and the paperwork and the home visits, there's a lot that goes into it to make sure families are well prepared and that we've done our work to make sure it's a safe place for kids. But the qualifications are relatively minimal. You need to be 21 years old, you need to have stable housing and income. There are some limitations to criminal history, and you need to maintain a drug-free environment. And other than that, it's about walking with staff through the process to do the training and the visits and all of that to make sure that fostering is a good fit.
And fostering is a good thing, and I just appreciate what y'all are doing with it. Up on screen, crossnor.org, still the same website. And for those of you that know about that, crossnor.org, please check that out to learn all about what is being offered. And Holly and Kelly, thanks for everything you're doing.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and I am so honored to be talking with two great community servants. I've never met them before, but thanks to the good folks at Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, they said, "Jim, you ought to meet them." And that's what we're going to do. On my immediate right, Talina Mayfield. She's Executive Director and co-founder of the Dream Team Foundation, and her husband is centered right behind us. Socially distanced, although he doesn't need to be, but we're still doing that. And Kelvin Mayfield is also co-founder of the Dream Team Foundation. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you
Good
so
morning.
much,
Thank you
Jim.
for
Thank you
having
for this
us.
opportunity.
Talina, let me start with you. What's the mission of the foundation, and what are some of the programs you've implemented that have had a positive effect on the community?
The Dream Team Foundation was created by Kelvin and I back in 2009, and our mission is to help our residents and our participants dream to become a reality. We want to be there to support them and along life's journeys. We want to be there to cheer them on and help make them to be successful in whatever their goals and their dreams and their visions are.
And we're talking about mainly younger people.
Yes.
All right. Of course, to me, everybody's younger. Kelvin, I think Talina sent me an email about something called a RAW program. What is that?
So RAW, that stands for really addressing what's going on. And so it mainly focuses on African American young men ages 16 to 26. And what we're trying to do is establish sound reasoning and logic. So we don't ask the participants why they make decisions. We're trying to figure out the underlying conditions of their decision making. And what makes the program different or unique in our eyes is that we are very transparent. We ask them to be transparent, we're transparent. We also ask, there's no judging, there's no preaching, there's no teaching. So we're not judging.
You're not moralizing to them.
Right.
Well,
right.
regardless of race or gender or anything else, I guess I'm interested in asking you why age 16 to age 26, why is that so important?
Well, we all fall in love at that age. So we want to focus in on decision making and logic decision making, because at that particular age, we feel like the decisions that they're going to make can be positively impactful for their future or negatively impacted. So that 16 to 26, they're starting to get jobs, think about college, some may get married. We got married at 25. So we really want to focus in on that group because it can make a great difference in their lives.
Give them some guidance and help
true.
with that. I think that's great. Talina, where does the funding come from, and how important is support from groups like Kate B. Reynolds?
I'm telling you, it is tremendous. They have been just truly jewels in our community, and they are about investing in impact and wants equitable opportunities for everyone. And they have been truly instrumental in our signature programs, such as our See Me program, which stands for Support, Education, Employment, Mentorship, and Empowerment. And as Kelvin said, that raw cohort really addressing what's going on, but they have truly been instrumental in making sure that it's equitable education for everyone and employment for everyone, regardless of your address, where you come from. And they are truly investing in impact, and we could not be where we are without their amazing support and their amazing team.
Kelvin, what kind of feedback and successes have you all had?
Great success. I mean, the RAW program, we've helped the young man find gainful employment. We've also talked about mental health, which is not something that young people tend to want to talk about, but we've had a couple of young men seek and had some counseling sessions, and also just seeing kind of the network of responsible people that you're accountable to grow has been a success.
Well, before time gets away, I want to put this up, dreamteamus.org, or I guess you could say us, yep. dreamteamus.org, because they're an us.
Yes.
Please check that out, and special thanks to Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, the good folks there, kbr.org, who helped make this possible. How do you like working together?
Oh,
We
it's
love
amazing. We're partners in life, in marriage, and in our nonprofit, and actually in our business. So it's just amazing. It's been amazing 23 years, Jim.
Such a pleasure to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you,
keep
too.
me posted, will you?
We
Okay,
will
definitely
do. Thank
will.
you so
Thank
much
you
for this
again for the
opportunity,
opportunity.
Jim. It's a
That's a
pleasure.
success story right there, those two. All right, we'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, time to talk with a couple of guys who are real community servants. I don't mean to embarrass them, but these guys do a lot for the community, and we're so proud to have them with us from time to time. On my immediate right, David Daggett and his partner, Griff Schuer, behind him, both from Daggett Schuer, attorneys at law. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks, Jim.
Let's talk about something that we've covered before, but let's do it in a little bit different way. First of all, David, originally you had the Safe Sober Prom Night program.
Yes.
Now, when did that start, and what was the original purpose?
So that started in 1990, 32 years ago. The purpose is basically threefold: awareness of the dangers of drugs and alcohol, creating an atmosphere of positive peer pressure, and getting our community to wrap their collective arms of support and encouragement around our young people.
And a lot of the folks, it was very successful and continues to be successful. Only Griff, you guys have, I guess since last year, sort of expanded the program. It's now safesober.com. What do you mean by expanding?
Well, Jim, the Safe Sober Prom Night program has always been more than just about proms. It's been a program that's been focused on youth, and in particular, making sure that youth make the right choice. And so
Year round.
Year round, and obviously during COVID, schools weren't having proms, and David and I thought that this was the perfect time to kind of pivot expand the Safe Sober program so that it's more enjoyed throughout the whole year. So that there are other events, obviously, where we can focus in on students making the right choice.
Right. I'm going to get to a special event coming up in just a minute, but before we do that, David, I understand you're partnering with the YMCA on something. What is that all about?
So as part of the Safe Sober program, we're partnering with the Ys in the Triad area to get shirts to different groups there. Research shows that these drugs and alcohol issues are starting younger and younger, so we can start hitting middle school age kids, and the Y programs with their after school programs and sports activities and those sort of things is a perfect outlet and a way to positively influence young people, and it goes along very well with the Y's mission.
And over the years, both as the prom night thing specifically, and now that you've expanded it, Griff, you guys have had a lot of good positive feedback. What kind, like from students, parents, teachers, principals, right?
Well, the impact on the youth has been huge, and what David and I have always heard is that people really appreciate getting out and making sure that the young people know to make the right choice.
Right.
And that's been a real focus. And obviously, we're really excited this year about being able to have a big event to celebrate that.
Tell us about this thing, because you sent me an email one day that says it has something to do with baseball, and I'm trying to figure this out.
So April 9th, the first Saturday night game at the Dash Stadium this year is Safe Sober Night at the ballpark.
Wow.
The Dash has come together with us. It's going to be fabulous. For one of the very, very few times in Major League Baseball history, the team is going to be wearing Safe Sober uniforms.
Get out of here.
Long story, but you had to get permission from home office of Major League Baseball for them to do that. It's a fireworks night. The Dash Stadium upstairs hosts a lot of proms.
Right.
So they're also going to make the Safe Sober message big for all the proms they host there. And we're just going to come out of the box with a spectacular evening on April 9th at the Dash Stadium.
And T-shirts everywhere, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Free T-shirts for anybody that comes that night.
Golly, fireworks, and the teams themselves are going to wear the
They're wearing Safe Sober uniforms.
And what's the date again?
That is April 9th. I think the game's at 6 o'clock that night. It's an earlier game. Griff and I will be wearing the team jerseys also, and we got some surprises for you. We might be running.
I think somebody might be throwing out the first pitch.
Okay. Got to start warming up that arm.
All right, let me throw this pitch out to you. For more information, you can visit safesober.com. And these sort of intertwine themselves, but if you need help on a different level and need to talk with some of the guys at Daggett Schuler, their basic website is daggettschulerlaw.com, or you can call 724-1234. Guys, that's exciting about April 9th.
Join us at the ballpark.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. It's going to be great.
That's right. David might do something. We don't know what that is. Well, are you going to stay with us for the roundtable?
Sure. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable. Another quick shout out to our friends here at the Senior Botanical Garden. Check out the website, check out the garden year round. Lots of things going on. You can rent the facility. It's great. You can't rent these guys, but you can borrow them. On my right, but always a political left, Ogie Gilberman, the great broadcaster and journalist who has a pig tie on for some reason. We'll get to that later. Back behind him, two good guys, David Daggett, who you saw in an earlier segment, talking about the big event coming up at the Dash Stadium, and Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, on a very serious topic, let's start with Governor Cooper just commuted the life sentences of 3 people, including a 46-year-old woman who at age 15 murdered her grandparents by burning them up in their house. Are you okay with releasing murderers from their life sentence just because they were under 18 when they were convicted, Ogie?
Well, not across the board, but this case, I think, I happen to know her lawyer quite well. She's been an exemplary prisoner. If anybody deserves to get out a bit early, I think it's this woman.
David?
Yeah, I agree with Ogie. As across the board, I would say no. However, I would examine them on a case-by-case basis. I don't know the specifics of this one.
Keith?
I've heard the specifics on this, and I think she deserves to be out. I think that a lot of people coming up in certain environments and they're committing crimes when they're young, they should have an opportunity to be free.
You guys are more liberal than I am on that. Somebody burned up my grandparents and killed them. I don't care if they were 15 or not, but anyway, I'll go on to something else. Parents in Guilford County have received promotional flyers about an after-school evangelical program being held at Moorhead Elementary and Montlou Academy and run by a Christian organization. Guys, are you okay with public school buildings hosting religious after-school programs, Ogie?
No, not really. There's plenty of facilities out there, plenty of venues they could find to host their event. Doesn't need to be in a school.
Mr. Daggett.
You know I'm fairly devout. However, I believe separation of church and state is necessary for survival of both, and I think we got to be very careful with these situations.
Mr. Granberry.
I think we have to be careful, but if there's something that is in support of the kids and it's an after-school program that's supporting these kids, I think that they should find a way to make that happen.
Could be a positive influence.
Absolutely.
The Washington Post reports that over the past decade, taxpayers in 25 major cities have foot the bill for the cost of settling cases of alleged misconduct by nearly 8,000 police officers and sheriff's deputies. Now, I know this is an obscure question, but guys, are you okay with public monies being spent to settle misconduct cases, or should individual officers be required to carry their own liability insurance to cover these kind of settlements? Ogie.
Well, first of all, I think cops deserve to make more money. And if that's the case, they should be able to afford to take out their own liability. I don't think that's taxpayer dollar-wise decision to do
David,
that.
we're paying for settlements.
Well, if there's an avenue of recourse and there's liability, there has to be the avenue somewhere. It wouldn't be through the individuals, so it has to be through the organization. In this case, the organization happens to be the government, and I think that's the way it has to work.
Key.
I think it has to go through the government because we have to make people held accountable for their action. If you're just holding the individual accountable, that means the organization is let off the hook. You have to make the organization pay for bad cops.
I didn't think about that. Now, good point. We've just learned that the 2020 census undercounted nearly 19 million Black, Latino, and Indigenous people. Should congressional maps now be redrawn again to reflect the undercounted populations? Maybe not for this primary, but eventually. Ogie.
I think so, Jim, because it was intentionally undercounted. Trump did everything he could to eliminate, to move up the deadlines, to make sure that we couldn't go and recount certain areas that happened to be Black, Latino, poor. It was all Trump's doing.
Should things be redrawn again,
Well,
David?
I think we need to draw lines and make decisions based on accurate information. From everything I've seen and heard, the 2020 census is not accurate information. If it's not accurate information, we need to recalculate what we're doing.
We don't know how the maps would be affected by the 19 million, but what do you think?
You mean to tell me that they didn't count 19 million Black and Indigenous people? Are you serious? I cannot believe this. Of course it needs to be withdrawn.
All right. We'll have to get the thing redrawn one way or the other. A bill is pending in Congress that would limit the money we spend to support ex-presidents who are getting multi-millions of dollars to operate offices and things each year, plus pensions. These guys are worth, Clinton and Obama and everybody, $70, $80, $90 million. They make $500,000 for a speech. Should we, very quickly, guys, should we stop subsidizing wealthy ex-presidents? Ogie.
Subsidize them less. They deserve a pension of sorts, but not millions and millions of dollars, plus Secret Service protection, too.
David.
Yeah, so I look at the infrastructure type issues. We need to provide them with appropriate security for appropriate events in appropriate circumstances. There needs to be some limit on that.
Key.
I think that they should be provided the amount of coverage that they have now because there are only a few presidents. I mean, when you get to that limit, you should be able to get all the benefits that you coming to you, and I think it's fair.
Bill Clinton's got $90 million in the bank.
But he earned it. He earned that money because he became the president of the United States.
That's less than quarterbacks are making.
Quickly on this one, yes or no, daylight savings time finally going to be voted on by the House? Will it pass or not to make it permanent?
It's a no-brainer. It's a done deal.
David.
No brainer, but I'm an early bird. I want it to be permanent standard time.
Keith,
They should name it Keith Granberry time. How about that? Huh? Can we do that, Jim?
Yeah, I know what they should name it. And finally, guys, this goes back to Ogie's tie. A man in upstate New York is at odds with local officials about his pet pig. They say it's illegal for a man to keep livestock in town. He says it's not livestock, it's a support animal. Guys, do you think a pig should qualify as a support animal? And would you like to be supported by a pig? Ogie.
I love pigs. I think they're perfect support animals. They're smart, they're clean, they can be taught things, they cuddle, they do.
So can David. David, what do you think?
I think I want Ogie as my support animal. That's what I think.
Keith, you think a pig should be a support? You've been supported by a pig, or?
Yeah, I've been supported by some pigs.
Oh, man, that's it for this. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Hey, just recently, it's a true story. A live chicken got loose in the Pentagon, started running around in secure areas. Nobody knew how he got there. Rumor has it that he got clearance by Colonel Sanders.
Ooh.
So you get that colonel in the military.
Very clever.
All right. And what did you say earlier? Never mind.
No.
All right. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.